Hey, remember me? Well, it's been a little while. Glad to be getting back to doing this because I've actually missed it. There have been some things going on in my life recently that have kept me from really staying as focused as I wanted to be on this. And just some, a combination of maybe some disappointing things and some very positive and beneficial things that are going on in my life. And that's really what I figured I'd get my thoughts a little straighter before I got back into this. So that it was important to make sure that I had the balance of the presentation as the most important thing that I was going to bring out. Recently, there have been some disappointments that have happened in my life, some things that I thought were going to go a little bit differently, and that's just a part of everything. And it's not that it's anything bad, it's just that they were just disappointing. So when things like this happened to me in the past, I used to get really upset about it, and I used to look to come up with answers why, and to point fingers and assess blame. And I'm glad that I've gotten to a point in life that I've realized that doesn't promote any kind of growth. If I do something like that, if any of us do things like that, we don't really get anywhere with whatever the situation was, whatever happened with a certain person. We don't bring the best out of ourselves and learn the lessons that we're supposed to learn. So whether it's something disappointing, disingenuous people, just some weirdness that happens in life, a life situation that just didn't go the way we were hoping or planning, there are two roads, and so many of us throughout our lives have taken the wrong one. We are so much more inclined to go towards the negative than we are towards the positive. Now, this doesn't mean that we can't feel our feelings. It doesn't mean that we can't be angry or be sad or be upset at anybody or about any kind of situation. It just means don't linger. Don't let that stuff stay with you for too long before you start to process it and move it through. Remember that there's something to be learned. If something doesn't go your way, if bad things happen, you've got to try to bring the best of yourself through it. It doesn't always start off that way, but as long as you make sure that you carry what you've learned into it and through it, you can get to a point of better understanding of things, mostly a better understanding of yourself and how you are going to move forward in your life. And it's something I was never any good at. I was always the kind of person that just got down about things and stayed there with it for way too long. And I'm glad to know that I can look at the most recent events of my life and say, this in many ways was a gift. I've been shown how to respond. I showed myself. I didn't even realize that it was coming. I've got the tools. It's just reinforcement. And I try to do the best that I can to make sure that I stay on top of that I stay positive, and I make sure that I'm not letting myself get too stuck in any kind of anger or disappointment or any kind of negative feelings, because when they linger, they just tend to become more of a part of you. And it seemed very natural this time around that these things didn't really bring out all of the old stuff from the past. Parts of it, but not much of it. And I'm really, really grateful for it. And I think that as we all move forward in life, from whatever phase we're going to, whether we're going from our teen years into our 20s or from our middle age on, or even when we're elderly, there's always something that we can learn. It's an ongoing learning process. And I have to be grateful for what I've been shown of myself with some things that have recently taken place in my life. And the good news is, aside from that, there have been some other cool things popping up. I got to do a karaoke show that I really enjoyed doing and will be doing some more of. I just started giving some vocal lessons, some singing lessons, and that's just a beautiful thing that fell in my lap, and I'm really excited to share with someone. I love to be working on things that I'm passionate about. So that's why I've been staying away from this for a little bit, because I wanted to make sure that I presented this in a balanced way, because there were some things that were starting to come up to the front that were a little too strong for maybe a week or two, that I wasn't allowing myself to put aside. I wanted to allow myself to feel it and move it through so that I could get back to and further into a point of relaxation and peace about things, because it's important for me to know that I'm not the same person that I used to be. And with everything that I've been through, with the loss of our parents and some other heavier things that have gone on in my life, I really shouldn't be at any other point. These other things that take place should really seem much smaller, worthy of looking at closely, worthy of making the most of, making the best of, and dissecting here and there, but again, not lingering on, because that's the past. And the past is over, and that was a different person that didn't do things right. So I want people to get to a point in their lives that they can have these kinds of realizations, knowing that you're going in a good direction. And when I feel this kind of a thing and I can be positive and say, yeah, you know what, that was put in place to teach me something, and I'm glad for the things that were brought out, and for the part of me that I was able to see that I hadn't seen in a while, or some things that I hadn't experienced before. This is all amazing stuff. And it's okay to go through these things, even if it does bring you some pain, because the pain that you go through today is the power that you will have tomorrow. So allow yourself to go through it, allow yourself to work through it, and allow yourself to get to better places so that it becomes the norm for you. That's really the point of all this, allowing peace and balance to become normal in your life, so that you can process everything so much easier than you ever did before. I don't even know the person that I used to be. The person that used to just go off for hours and hours and weeks about this happened and that happened, and it's just no good, and why does this happen to me, and I can't believe this. Well, here I am now, and I can believe this because I've done the work. I want you to do it too. So keep moving forward, keep moving towards health. Peace and love. Take care.